going to be a thing. Now that we had our technical difficulties, I want to say
I think
hello
I'm
again.
live now.
Yeah, now you're live streaming. All right. That's good. So, once again, after technical difficulties have ensued, hello everybody. We are going to react to these vegan versus vegan debate. Maybe one of them had the vegan label revoked by the end of it. But I don't think we're going to get to the end of it because reacting to a 2 hour long debate is, that will take 10, 12 hours. Who's got time or patience for that? But at least we're going to hear those two lovely people out and see whom we agree with. I have a suspicion that me and Patrick are going to disagree on a couple of things. But I don't know.
Yeah, I think maybe we've got some different viewpoints that we might have a friendly disagreement on. I'm not sure. We've never really spoken about this topic to one another. So, but I think it's an important topic to talk about because eventually one day when we get to a vegan world, if we don't bring up this topic, wild suffering will just continue into perpetuity if nothing's done about it. So I think it's an important topic.
Yeah, I think so as well. As vegans who have affinity and empathy for animals, I don't know how wise it is to completely ignore this suffering just because we aren't the one causing it. Yeah. So just hello to everybody in my chat: Franto, Martin, Kevin, Bianca, Cordy Moon. Hi, hello, Frando. Oh, I told you hello already. The real thing. Hi, and Bushmaster.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Bushmaster. All right. So shall we begin? Should I put it on a bit faster?
Yeah, I can go very fast, but it depends how fast you can go.
No, not fast at all. Yeah, let's begin.
No audio that I can hear.
Great. We are not finished with
The technical difficulties.
technical difficulties. Oh, that one done already.
Hello, Bianca. Hello, Efrendo.
Yeah, people know the drill. Go to both streams. Yeah, there you go. It's taking a little bit getting used to because I think usually people don't stream to both streams Simplista, but it helps both of us out if we do it like this. Tell me how about now?
Still nothing.
That's great. I don't know what to do about that. That's microphone. Do people in my chat, can you guys hear the sound? That might give me an indication. Hello, Sip. I should have never
Can everyone in
done
my
all
stream?
this.
Can everyone in my stream hear me?
I think this should be solving the problem. Can you hear it now? No.
Still nothing.
Maybe you can share it and let me stop. Do you have it queued up? Perhaps.
1 minute, I can find it.
Guys, I'm so sorry. This keeps happening. Maybe this streaming life is not in my wheelhouse. No, too silent. Fuck. Okay.
Hello, everyone. We're live.
I'm definitely not set up for streaming. Well, people are not
So
going to hear on my side either, so that's a problem. Um,
1 minute.
that's not going to help us though, Patrick, because people are not going to hear it on my side.
Okay.
Hello, CDA. So what I need to do is sorry, guys. This is messed up. Active. That's okay. Turn off. I know what to do. I know what to do. So, how about now?
Still nothing.
Guys, no.
So when I share my screen, can you not hear what I'm presenting?
I can hear everything. I mean, did you press play? Because then, no, I can't. If you didn't press play,
I
then
didn't. Well,
Really happy to
well,
have
this is
both
so
my
messed
guests
up.
on
But I'm
today.
sorry,
They're two
guys,
people
that
in
you
the
come
animal
in
rights
here
movement
and this happens. I'm really sorry.
1 minute. I'll get it up again.
whose opinions I value a lot. I love getting them both on
I
for
can
live
hear it.
streams
Can
because
my
they
chat hear
always
it?
offer.
Please let me know, guys. No, Bianca says no. So it's a problem on my side.
Hello, everyone. We're live. So really happy to have both my guests on today. They're two people in the
I can
animal
hear
rights
it
movement
fine.
who.
Bianca can hear it. We can't, yes. Bianca, I'm getting mixed signals. Problem on my side. Yes, problem on my side. Try it again.
Whose opinions I value a lot. I love getting them both on for
How about
live
now,
streams
guys?
because they always offer some unique and interesting insights and perspective. And I think they have
Can
really
you pause?
important views that they're.
Let's abandon VPN. Oh, yeah, it's possible. I can close down my stream and we can go just to Patrick's stream. That's possible. You can hear George and Patrick only a little bit. It's through my microphone. That's why. Okay. I don't know what I did last time.
So hello, Vegan Power Lab. Hello, David.
Let me see what's going on in my
Hello,
stream.
CDA Activism.
Yeah. Can I? Can you unshare, please, for a second, Patrick?
Yep.
Thank you. This is peak entertainment, guys. Let's see if this other model works. Can everybody hear Pat?
No, I cannot hear anything.
Oh, you can hear Patrick now. That's great. You haven't heard Patrick until now. That's amazing. Let's comp sound.
Strange.
Definition. That's microphone. And you can't hear this window. I think the problem is probably in the way I'm sharing it. Could be. Ooh.
For once, my stream is working.
Well, there's a silver lining. I'm gonna press it again. Can you hear it?
Nope.
Okay. So you share it. And frustrating. Hello, David C. Arenas. Thank you for all the superlatives. Usually, when you know, before calling somebody something, I prefer to ask them what their stance is. Right? You don't even know what our stance is. So it's funny. You don't know what our ethical position is. Is it utilitarian? Is it deontologist? You just juxtapose utilitarianism with veganism. Tell those are the two sides of the range. I don't know how you got there. Some people come to the vegan conclusion from utilitarianism, and they're solid vegans. You've seen enough of my videos, okay? Well, I'm sorry to inform you that I don't jive with the utilitarian position. I think you just don't know what it means, frankly. That's my guess. Because I wouldn't identify as a utilitarian. In fact, I've gone through the utilitarian position and it doesn't jive with me. I'm an animal rights activist. I mean, you can think like that, David. You can think that I'm a plant-based dieter. I sure do talk about ethics a lot. So it doesn't matter how I identify. Yeah, okay. Well, then I'm sorry to say your name calling matters not then. If you're not here to hear out our position, well, what are you doing? What are you doing? Patrick, are you gonna try to
So
share?
you want me to share, and can it come through on your end, the audio?
I don't know how to fix it. So either we abandon my stream and go to yours, or you try to share it and see if it comes through that way. You know what I mean?
So yeah, I can try again.
Okay. Well, I'm clicking around here. I mean, David, it would be name calling if what you're accusing me of is not true. So I don't know. I mean, you called me plant-based dieter for someone who devotes a lot of time to ethics. I find it a little insulting, frankly.
Both are really good at articulating and airing.
Can
So
people
obviously,
hear Patrick playing the video? If not, guys, this is the last time. We're just gonna go to Patrick's stream and abandon mine. How about that? Vegan Power Lab hear it. The real thing hears it. CJ Activism hears it. Awesome. Let's go. Maybe we can state our positions before we are defined by somebody else. Patrick?
Oh, well, I'll let you go first.
What do you mean?
You can, if you want to tell your position. Yeah, you can go first. Yeah.
Sure. Well, I'm not sure what the debate is really about because I haven't watched it. Human intervention in nature is a bit large of a subject, right? So the only ethical position that is solidified in me that I have is that If I see a lion is about to attack a person, I'm going to try to stop that lion if at all possible, right? In theory, I don't own a gun, I don't own any kind of a weapon, and I can't go against the lion, right? But if I had a way to stop a lion from eating a person, I would try to do so. If I see a lion try to hurt a gazelle, to eat a gazelle, I would try to stop a lion as well, because I don't see a morally relevant difference between those two sentient beings. And if I can prevent victimizing of a sentient being, I shall do so. Patrick?
So I'm very similar to you, and I'm for preventing and reducing wild suffering in different aspects as well, such as, for example, if to mind comes a clip which I saw of planet Earth of a baby elephant separated from its mum. And then I remember just thinking, how can the film crew just look at this baby elephant lost, knowing that the elephant is just going in the other direction from the mum, and knowing that almost certainly the baby elephant will die. So I'm for just helping to reduce the suffering in every way. So if I was part of the film crew, I would have helped the baby elephant get back to their mum.
Yeah. Is that a utilitarian position, Patrick?
So it's a rights-based position, because I'm just thinking in terms of how that would act if humans were in that position, trait-adjusted humans, such as, for example, if a kid was separated from their mum in the desert, I would act to bring the kids back to their mum. And it's not necessarily what I would do myself, such as I wouldn't necessarily be able to save everyone or kill someone, but it's what I think aligns with my preferences, such as if some sort of political system could act to reduce suffering, I'll be for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I don't know how my position of defending the victim is utilitarian, but I don't know. David, go on. So yeah, we can start watching the video. Oh, sorry.
I also just like to add that I also think that with regards to killing predators, I also personally still view the predator as a victim. So, for example, if there was a human who needed to eat flesh to survive,
yeah,
I would have a preference for helping them, without having to kill them, because it's not like they're doing it out of spite, as far as I know. They're just following their instincts. So even though it's causing suffering, I would be preferable for interventions which stop both, the prey, having their rights violated, and also to an extent, when possible, the predator as well, such as bring them away. And
all right, an amazing start, being called names even before we started watching the debate or gave us our positions. So let's continue. Patrick, the video actually goes into it at 1:55 when Pat starts to introduce herself.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
Tone, I don't know why you would say that. Veganism ends at human action.
Yeah, hi, I'm Pat. I've got a bit of a cold. I'm a lawyer from Sydney. I'm doing my PhD in constitutional law and animals.
You talked about human inaction. Is that what was the point you just made? I was playing the video.
Tone said in my chat, veganism ends at human action. No, then you are into utilitarianism. I don't know how me saying that I'm trying to save a victim, despite it not being done by despite the victim not being hurt by a human, how that's an utilitarian position. Patrick, can you maybe give us like an overview of a utilitarian position? Because I think you know it better than I. No?
I'll first say that with regards to veganism, in order to avoid infighting, I know people come up with different sort of interpretations, but for me, veganism is only like I only see it with human commodification of other non-human animals. So I only see it as that. But then I see wild suffering as an additional topic. Although I just feel like veganism for me is solely to do with the human commodification, but I still think it's a valid topic worth talking about, wild suffering, but I feel like veganism should only be to do with human actions with regards to commodifying, exploiting animals. This also, I think, helps avoid infighting as well to the vegans who are sort of...
Well, apparently not, because, yeah. All right.
And then your next question was, how do I define utilitarianism? It's kind of, so there's so there's, first of all, there's deontology, and then there's utilitarianism, then there's threshold deontology. And utilitarianism is in terms of just maximizing overall well-being. So it's kind of difficult to do this calculation, but it's just going for the action which will generate the most well-being. So for example, if someone theoretically wanted to sexually exploit someone and they could sexually exploit them without the victim knowing, so even though they're having their rights violated, a utilitarian might sign off on this because it's maximizing well-being.
Yeah.
Do you see what my point I made there?
Yeah.
Whereas someone who is rights-based, even though the victim is not feeling anything necessarily, they will still say this is a wrong action.
Oh, damn, fuck. I'm a fucking right-based person then. Jesus. Well, that's a shame. Isn't it, David? Right.
Are there any other questions in there? So someone said David Attenborough is overrated AF, CDA activism. Yeah, I agree.
That went over my head a little bit.
What, that point, David? About
I don't know what David
Attenborough.
Attenborough is. So
he's he does lots of documentary voiceovers. He's got an amazing voice.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm an animal rights activist.
Awesome. David?
Vegan, obviously.
Cool.
Yeah. Hey, I'm David, or David, however you want to call me. I'm from Colombia, and I used to organize the cubes for AV here in Bogota. And well, I have some experience with street activism and online activism, and that's mostly it.
Awesome. Yeah, so the way it's going to work today then, people in the audience, is the guests have agreed to just start with like an opening statement about this, and then they can sort of clarify each other's views or whatever after that, and then get into it. Pat has prepared, I believe, like maybe a 5-minute opening statement, and she's going to go first. Cool. And then David is going to respond to that. And I guess from there, they will kind of see where they agree and disagree, and then they'll have the back and forth. Now, anyone who wants to ask questions in the live chat, you can feel free to do so after the debate, but if you leave a super chat now, you'll get a guaranteed answer at the end. So super chats for guaranteed answers, and you can ask either participant or me, anything, whatever. If you have a question for anyone here, you want to press anyone on their views, you can do that, and we'll read out those super chats at the end, plus any non-super chat comments that I managed to actually show up. So I guess what we will do is, and I guess we'll go, like, the main debate can be like an hour and a half max, something like that. And then I'll ask them some questions, and we'll have some audience questions as well after that. So are you both cool with that, David and Pat?
Sounds good.
Cool. And David, I should mention also, if you want to actually share your screen at any point during the debate, you can do that. You can bring anything up if you want from online and actually share your screen. Pat might be doing that during the debate as well, so you're free to do that. And yeah, I guess then we'll get the ball rolling with the opening statements. So Patricia Nonis, if you would like to start your opening statement about the topic of intervention in nature.
Yeah, just a quick question. Because I have like multiple screens open, can you see me if I do this?
I can see you now, yeah, but I can't see cool. What you're, yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fine, because I want to know where the camera is, and I just want to make sure I haven't got Windows up on the wrong.
Yeah, technical difficulties, shit.
All right, so my overall position is that the appeal to nature.
No, I just said technical difficulties. I get it, but yeah.
Policy, the idea that something is natural, therefore it is also good or worth preserving, is one of humanity's worst ideas, on par with carnism, Islamism, and wokeism. I think condemning animals to a lifetime of perpetual disease, parasites, and excruciating pain is both stupid and evil. I hold the view that the quality of sentience, more often than not, gives rise to individual rights, or at the very least, serious moral consideration. And I don't think that changes simply because these beings have had the unfortunate luck to be born in a horrendous.
You see how everybody, can you hear how Pat is talking about the rights violations, right? So immediately, any accusation of being utilitarian is wrong.
The state of disease and death. The idea that we should not intervene in cases of intense and serious suffering with respect to wild animals is a stupid and false idea that has been enshrined into all facets of law and society, mostly environmental law, environmental values, and policy. This would never be tolerated in the human case. That is to say, I do not believe any psychologically normal human would agree to kill other humans or let them forever live in a state of intense pain because it was good or even crucial for the environment or natural ecosystem, or because changing things would simply be too tall an order, or because we are somehow infringing on the liberty of individuals who live in a perpetual state of natural violence and subjugation. Indeed, such a view would be considered, rightfully, from my view, by most as psychotic and evil. The non-interventionist viewpoint is therefore inherently speciesist, discriminatory, and degrading to non-human animals. It is my view that the support for environmentalism, nature, and conservation is so strong because fundamentally, people think that animals are inferior, so much so that it is acceptable that we leave them in states where rape, abuse, suffering, and excruciating pain is the norm. I want it to be known that human responsibility and intervention to wild animals has developed into a serious issue that is taken morally seriously. For example, there are now organizations like the Sentience Institute and the Organization for the Prevention of Intense Suffering. A large portion of their work is dedicated to helping wild animals. At the very least, I'm 100% supportive of people talking about the issues and raising awareness of it, given we do not currently have the political will to develop the technologies needed to reduce and eventually eliminate wild animal suffering and establish wild animal rights, because that's what it's about. That's what it's really about to me, right? It's not just wild animal suffering. It's the fact that wild animals must also have rights. It's not just, hey, you're in the jungle, kid, sorry, you're fucked, and we're not going to defend your rights to liberty, equality, and individual flourishing, which has next to zero chance of happening in the state of nature. Positive wild animal intervention is not just an idea worth aspiring to. I would argue it is already happening, as we can see in the form of wildlife sanctuaries. For example, there are currently 1,578 wildlife sanctuaries in the United States. Combined, these wildlife sanctuaries employ 6,801 people and more than $743 million in revenue a year and have assets of $2 billion. Each animal sanctuary is an explicit and overt example of a successful intervention with nature, and to varying extents.
Now, does any of that sound utilitarian to you? Wow, Patrick, we gotta solve your computer business.
What's happening with my computer?
I've asked you a question. Does that sound utilitarian to you? Anything that Pat said? I was half expecting to not agree with Pat either. So far, everything she said makes sense. And I actually am surprised that there are actually wildlife sanctuaries. That's fucking amazing. The one thing I would warn about is talking about, talking about intervention when it comes to like contraception and such, because then you have to experiment on animals. You know, that could be done in an ethical way. After all, I work in experimentation on humans, and that can be done in an ethical way. But we have to be aware of that. But Patrick, please say something. Does anything that Pat said sound utilitarian to you?
Not really, no. And yeah, I'd like to add also that there's also threshold deontology, which has, you know, an aspect where people can give up the rights because there's a utility aspect which is just so great that it's just sort of crazy to not sort of give up the rights based aspects, such as, for example, if someone took for example, with cultivated meat, cultivated lab flesh, if potentially one cell could save, an infinite ongoing massacre, then someone could potentially sign off on this, whereas a pure deontologist would be okay with us potentially never getting to a vegan world, just if if someone's just pure deontologist and you ask them, would you be okay with, because for example, with cultivated meat, as I've seen, the cells can be stored for eternity once you've got them, and it can be in a painless swab. So a pure deontologist would be okay with us never getting to a vegan world if just because of this act of
swab of an animal. Yeah. Well, David, I'm sorry, I'm gonna call your name properly this time. David says that threshold deontology is utilitarianism in disguise. So that shows me, David, that you don't know what you're talking about, because those two positions are opposite, right?
Well, I'll be interested from a pure vegan deontologist. Would they be okay with never getting to a vegan world potentially, just because of breaking a single, just from not making a single exception? Do you have like something to add to this?
I'm not sure. Let's just continue for now. I mean, I'm not, I don't know if I'm a threshold deontologist at this point. I do have some consequentialist tendencies. I think if there is a victim lying in a puddle of their own blood, I think something wrong has happened there. Threshold deontology, or what was it called? Moral relativism would say, well, it's a moral wrong from the victim's perspective, but a moral right from the perpetrator's perspective. That seems wrong to me. So I think I'm somewhere in the middle, but definitely not utilitarian. Utilitarianism doesn't jive with me at all, from everything I heard so far, ever.
So for me and the people listening in the chat, what does moral relativism mean?
So that morality is relative to a person, to a culture, to a country. Someone can say, well, if a perpetrator does something wrong to the victim, they'll of course might even object to me calling them that way. If a person does something wrong to another, then that person doesn't think it's wrong. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. But the person that it's done to, the victim, I would call them, their position is reversed. They think something wrong was done to them. So morality, moral relativism says, is a consequence of one of the person's mind. So it's basically it changes between one person to another. I think there is a objective wrong when there is a victim involved, right? So that's where I don't jive with moral relativism. Did I do it correctly? Did I say it correctly? I'm not very versed in things like that, Patrick.
I'm not too versed on this as well, but there's moral anti-realism, right? So I'm just guessing is that the opposite of moral anti-realism? Moral relativism?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, anti-realists, they just don't believe that there's like objective right things and wrong things, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think it's separate from. People gotta know when people are using like utilitarian versus threshold deontologist, or even say those are things that are the same. Those are just two positions in two camps. The camps are what is it called, deontologists, and consequentialist, right? That's how I understand it. And those are basically two opposite positions. Now, consequentialist has the consequentialist position has a utilitarian position in there, right? It's more defined. It's more right, but it also has about a dozen other consequentialist positions. The same with deontology. There is a freshman deontologist, and then there are a dozen others, right? So when we're just when we're talking just about those two positions, it's almost like a fallacy, because yeah, people hold all kinds of positions in those two camps, right? So at least like use the right words. Say it's consequentialism versus deontology, but never juxtapose utilitarianism versus veganism. Those are not even the same thing, right? Not even the same language, not even the same sphere of thought. I'm annoyed now, David. Let's go.
The successful domestication of wild animals, which is a good, if not great thing. Everything from their environments, temperature, food, etc. is monitored, and that is precisely why they are able to live such long, happy, and meaningful lives with each other. I want to add a caveat and say that I understand that there are limits right now to what we can and can't achieve for wild animals. Because of this, I will likely just grant to David if he were to suggest that there are a number of situations where it might be best for the moment to err on the side of caution and not intervene. And there might be situations where environmental protection actually helps animals incidentally. But this does not mean I support those initiatives as an overall or long-term objective for humanity or think that it is consistent with our values. My temporary neutrality towards some environmentalist policy or initiatives is not based on any kind of understanding that their values are good. It is based on the knowledge and acceptance that they are too stupid and delusional to realize how bad preserving nature actually is. Therefore, I hold a strong philosophical position regarding wild animal rights in terms of actual policy implementation until we develop a stronger public and political consensus on the issue. I'm more flexible with such issues, as we'll no doubt discover in the discussion. So in conclusion, I think it's a human responsibility to achieve wild animal rights, quoting Martha Nussbaum, the celebrated philosopher. To say antelope are destined to be eaten by carnivores is like saying women are destined to be raped by men. Animals don't care if their pain is caused by parasites or a plastic bag, they just want their agony to end. Nature is a prehistoric shithole of disease and death, and along with other horrendous regimes like slavery and the Holocaust, it belongs in the past. Almost everything good about modern life today was brought to you by science and technology and the power of the explicitly unnatural. To deny wild animals the same progress is unjustifiable and, on my view, an inherently evil position to hold. That concludes my opening statement.
Thanks, Pat. And we just had the odd comment there just saying about your microphone. So just while David is doing his talk, people are saying just check you've selected the right microphone in settings. You're using the microphone you got in front of you, not the webcam mic. I reckon it could just be the echo in your room, whatever. But we can hear you, yeah. It's just that it's a bit echoey when you speak, so it might be that you're...
Yeah. Okay, but I think that when people think that veganism is not enough and we have to do something else, or we have to introduce something into veganism that is not there, that wasn't there, it's like all these intersectionals trying to, well, maybe if we focus on animals is not enough. Sorry,
can you pause?
The efforts to abolish animal.
What do you mean focusing on animals is not enough? I mean, we are talking about animals here. We are talking about animal suffering. We are talking about animal rights. What do you mean animals are not enough? How is that what you heard from Pat's open statement? I'm not sure. Patrick?
Yeah, I'll add, regardless of whether you want wild suffering to be included within the sphere of veganism or not, it's an important topic to have a conversation about, because we should care about, well, I personally want to care about all the victims and everyone who has their rights violated, regardless of whether it's due to human-related causes or due to other causes. So it's still
Patrick,
important to, Go ahead.
Yeah, David, if you were talking about intersectionals, then I don't know what you're talking about, because I don't think human intervention in nature is an intersectionalist position, right? This is still happening for animals. I actually disagree with Patrick. I think it is a vegan question. Whether or not we intervene in nature to grant wild animals rights. I don't see the distinction there. I mean, I see the distinction in the perpetrator, but I don't see distinction in the victim. The victims are still victimized animals. They're just victimized by somebody else. And therefore, why? Why on earth would I separate the two? And you poisoning the well by talking about intersectionalism in this debate. Who cares? Who mentioned it? Why? Why? All right.
So
I'm
just
sorry.
to
I'm
be
talking.
clear,
Yeah.
yeah, just to be clear, for me, I don't really mind whether it's counted within veganism or not. But what I just care about is that it's this, people are logically consistent and it's discussed. So, for example, if someone had two humans in their garden, just sort of in a fight, like you would want to intervene, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, we got Turning Veganese here saying, I'm here to tell you that David won the debate.
Cool. Well, we haven't gotten there yet, so.
First of all, I'd also like to add that this wasn't actually a debate because there was no debate proposition. So this was more like a discussion / chat. Yeah. Oh, a minute, just lost the window.
Exploitation are not enough. I think it's so anthropocentric because we don't do that with any other human issue. We don't say, well, feminism is not enough because women still suffer if men don't discriminate against women. So the problem with this is that it makes veganism a very ludicrous cause in the eyes of the non-vegans who are supposed to get on board with a very feasible, very rational movement against animal exploitation. So all these suffering approaches are so utilitarian in the sense that
Can you
they
stop,
just
Patrick?
focus on maximizing pleasure, and
you see, David, you're using utilitarianism as a swear word.
He would have to sort of explain how that's captured by Patricia's views here, how she sort of, that her decisions or what she thinks should happen are based on just overall maximizing overall, well-being.
Yeah. And what does intersectionalism have to do with anything she said? The proposition of debate, if there was any, or the subject of this discussion? Don't know.
So intersectionalism for everyone, that, if I understand correctly, sometimes people use it in different ways, but does it just mean that justice for all, so human rights issues are within veganism? Is this what it means?
Well, it depends whom you ask. If you ask somebody else who isn't me, intersectionalism is about the inherent connection between all types of injustices, which is left to be proven. I think the burden of proof wasn't reached there. I am for practical intersectionalism, meaning if you are in a vegan march, right, just do your best not to shit on other, social movements against other injustices, right? So don't stand up in a vegan march against LGBTQ issues, against women's issues, right? Just don't do it. And I do say the same to the other positions, to the other social justice movements as well. I used to be a feminist activist before turning to vegan activism. And while I was a vegan already, and there was a fuck up, somebody brought to the march a placard that said basically, "I'm not a piece of meat." And well, that's not recognizing the other social movement against for animal rights, right? So just be wary of that. That's what I mean by practical intersectionalism. Just don't step on others' toes. The rest, we can argue if non-binary people exist or not. Spoiler, you are looking at one for 47 minutes. So I definitely exist. But other than that, should we surrender veganism, the vegan social justice movement, to entail all justice movements? No, I think that's a little silly. We can concentrate on them separately. I think, yeah. But I, again, don't understand what this rant was about. That's not the nature of Pat's position. That's not what the debate or conversation is about. So,
yeah, Carnism Debunk said it was defo a debate, but do you know what the debate proposition was?
I'm guessing it's human intervention in nature.
But that's not a
but
proposition.
Other than that, yeah, I'm not sure. No.
Yeah.
I haven't seen this, so this is me with fresh eyes and fresh ears.
Yeah. Like typically, as far as I'm aware, debates, they should have a debate proposition on the table, like someone arguing for a specific statement which has a truth value, and then the other person is, the opposition, basically.
Yeah, I think this is more of an informal debate. There is a subject on the matter. One takes one position, the other takes the opposite position.
But yeah, I'm not an expert, but as far as I'm aware, it should have a...
reducing suffering, even if it's...
Did you want to say something? No?
Thanks, I'm sorry.
Against, if it goes against the rights of the animals. Like, for example, restricting the freedom of animals, because we think that these animals cause suffering, so let's restrict their freedom. And I think it's the concept of rights that Patricia talks about.
Sorry, can you
is to be understood by moral agents, human moral agents.
So David said that reducing animal suffering by restricting the freedom. First of all, I don't know if those two things are on the opposite sides of the matter. Like, I think, we need to solve the practicality of the thing, but we can at least have the position of doing both. Meaning reducing animal suffering without restricting their freedom, unless it's the freedom to be eaten alive, starting with the balls. And then I would question if David knows what freedom means.
So we are making the whole thing about rights, about suffering. It's like, these animals cause suffering onto other animals. Then it's they are violating the rights. No, we are the rights violators. Humans are the rights violators.
Can you pause again? Sorry.
Not.
This is
So yeah, even if an animal ate another animal with no suffering involved, I would still class it as a rights violation. So it's not based on suffering.
Yeah. Same. I also had a point there to make. Can you go back like for 10 seconds?
Yeah.
Sorry. And then pause.
Onto other animals, then it's they are violating the rights. No, we are the rights violators.
Okay, yeah,
Humans
can you stop
are
that?
The rights.
We are the rights violators.
Yeah, both can be true. Those are two different situations. We, as humankind, can be rights violators against animals, and other animals can be rights violators against animals. So again, those are two things that put as contradictory to each other, or meaning as two sides of the same debate, but they're not. Both can be true, both can be untrue. It's not that if one is true, the other isn't, and vice versa, right?
Yeah, when he says humans are rights violators, I assume he means that only humans can violate rights of other people. If I got this correctly, you can write in the chat if I misinterpreted. But so then, if for example, like Homo erectus, could they violate someone else's rights or a different species, or if someone like his neighbor took a DNA test and it was outside of the of the genus, or genetic class outside of Homo sapiens sapiens, so no longer human, could this person be culpable of violating someone's rights? So I'll be interested to hear that.
Yeah, same. Good point.
Violators, not non-humans, not moral patients. So I think it's a whole mess. And Patricia also mixes up like.
Yeah, can
do you know? Do you have something to say about moral patience?
Right. So I don't know much about that. I haven't thought much about that. I again, with rights violations, look at the victim and not at the perpetrator, right? So if a victim had their rights violated, I don't even think it's relevant to the conversation if the perpetrator meant to do it, is capable of feeling remorse or moral composure about it. It doesn't matter, I think. It matters later, like in case of humans right now, it matters in the court, right? When it comes to sentencing or where to put the person, the perpetrator who violated the rights. But the victim had the rights violated. So I don't see a way around that.
So we can reasonably be sure that there is a victim involved who is sentient, who feels that they are, being violated. And as you said, I wouldn't necessarily have a prison for, predators, but it should be stopped because it goes against I don't like seeing animals having their rights violated. And many people just grant the fact that they just state animals have no moral agency, but we don't actually know for sure. I'm pretty agnostic on this, on whether animals have moral agency, because especially companion animals, they sometimes they show signs of having moral agency, in my opinion. For example, some companion dogs, they know not to bite your finger off, or sometimes they can play about with you. So I feel like there is some credence to give them some sort of moral agency that they can sort of tell.
Yeah. We also know of, I guess, some animal testing, which I'm against, of course, but nonetheless, we have the results of rats saving each other over getting a snack, so that looks like a moral agency to me. But I again don't think it matters, because I think if we can save the victim from having their rights violated, who cares what the perpetrator meant to do or is capable of thinking to do? Patrick, I really need to leave for like a minute or two. While I'm gone,
I can
please,
talk a little bit.
Yeah. Also promote the fuck out of your channel and other social media, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I would just like to add with regards to that point regarding the victims. Even if there's no if there's no perpetrator, I would still like to act to reduce victims. For example, if there's people dying in a ship which is drowning, even though there's no perpetrator involved, I would like to act. It's in my preferences to reduce people's drowning. And back to what Vegan PostMortem said, you can, I guess, check out my channel if you want. If you find the sort of stuff interesting, what I do more nutrition-based stuff, but I sometimes get ethics involved, because I think it's important to also cover a lot of quackery and pseudoscience, and there's a lot of anti-vegan quackery and charlatans promoting things which aren't evidence-based. So that's what I really try and do a lot. But before I was doing sort of a split. So 1 week ethics, 1 week nutrition. And back to also the predator thing. What did I want to say? Like if I was on a desert island, this question gets brought up a lot. If I was on a desert island, I probably, when people bring up this question to me, I hope I would not kill someone if I was on a desert island. So this is what my usual response is to people when they ask me, like, what would you do on a desert island? I would just say, I would not kill someone on the desert island unless I go crazy from starvation. So potentially this could be what's happening with predators, that they have a sort of sense of moral agency, but because of the starvation, the survival situation they're in, that they're just acting, to violate other people's rights. But this is sort of a long shot. I don't know if you caught what I was saying there, but I was saying that potentially because these animals are in such a survival situation that they are sort of violating other people's rights to survive. I don't know if you have anything to add to that.
I don't know what I would do on a desert island. I've never been. I have been in a situation of being incredibly hungry, but never starving. So I don't know.
So 1 minute, I've got a few questions here. So Marcelo says, I don't believe animals have something even more comparable to the concept of moral agency as we humans understand. That's kind of unfair. I just said that I'm sort of agnostic. Many people just directly say animals have no moral agency, but I'm not too sure about this one. I sort of feel like there's reason to believe that they might. And then David says, sorry if I pronounced it wrong. It's David, right? The correct pronunciation. And then, do you think that we should kill a dog if the dog hurts a kid? So it would really depend. So if I would always go for the option which doesn't entail killing someone, but if it's like a last resort and there's no other option, then I might have to sign off on that. What about you, PostMortem?
Yeah, sure. From my previous example, from a lion is about to kill a human being or a human child or whatever. Do I shoot the lion in that second? My answer is yes. The lion is about to kill a gazelle in that second. The answer is again, morally speaking, right? What would I kill the lion with? But like practically. But morally speaking, yes, I think I have, if I have the possibility, it would be a virtue to save the victim from being mulched to death, right? So, but my claim is when there is a temporal component, when the attack has already happened, you didn't witness it or didn't have the chance to save the victims, right? Then there's a temporal component added, right? Now we have time. We have time to decide what to do with the dog. It's not a split-second decision with the dog or the lion, right? So we can try to rehabilitate them. We can try to lock them up. I don't know if I'm for in that kind of situation, just killing the animal. I think there's a potential speciesism there. Would we kill, I don't know, serial killers whom you find sleeping in their bed, right? After all the killing was done, do you just shoot them in their bed? No, you arrest them and put them in jail, right? Or and maybe death row, which is morally problematic in my opinion.
But I'm also for, when possible, for example, if there was a disabled human running around killing people, I would, when possible, if it was possible to sort of, stun them so they just stop the act without killing them, that would be in my preferences, because I don't feel like they're necessarily, you know, responsible unless they have the intention, which is, if someone is just disabled, well, maybe wrong choice. If someone doesn't know what they're doing,
Yeah.
My preference would be to just stop them doing the action which they're about to do when possible, rather than killing them, and then just put them in a special, potentially try and re-educate them if possible.
What if they do know what they're doing, Patrick?
So, yeah, because I'm not too sure if I believe in free. Yeah, I'm not too sure if I believe in free will anyway. So, yeah, this is another topic, but
yeah, to me the caveat of being irresponsible for the actions, as I have made clear, I think at this point, is irrelevant if the choice is a split-second choice between killing somebody or saving the victim, and that's the only choice you have. It's a binary choice. Then yes, I'm killing the perpetrator, whether they are capable of thought and reason or not. Right? It's a split-second decision. When it's not a split-second decision, when there is no longer or not yet an immediate danger, that's when we have actually the range of moral choices, right? And there I would equate a human being, able or not able, knowing or not knowing, to the animal. I don't think it matters if they know what they're doing. I think if they know what they're doing, there is a bigger range of possibilities, maybe, to stop them, right? You can reason with them, whatever. But well, I'm rambling at this point. Corvid Moon says, Patrick, I thought about that kind of a thing in the past as well. I don't know what that's talking about. I'm sorry. Corvid Moon, this is, I don't think Patrick can see my chat. I'm sorry to say. We can go on.
And like when you were off camera, I also brought up an example, like if a ship was sinking, I would still be in favor of helping these people, regardless of whether there's a perpetrator. So it's the same thing, I feel, with I don't care who's committing the act. I just care that there's people who are having their rights violated, and well, yeah.
And their lives taken, basically, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got
yeah, it's a
along.
good point, actually, Patrick. It could be a hand of God, if such a thing is possible to exist. Yeah, if you can stop a victim from being a potential victim from becoming that victim, why the hell wouldn't you?
Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of comments here.
You can go through them. That's fine.
Okay, David again. David, he says, if you think animals have moral agency, then the lions, though, would be a valid excuse for not being vegan.
What? How?
Do you understand this question?
No. Those two parts of the sentence seem unrelated to me. Can you read it again, please?
If you think animals have moral agency, then the lions, though, would be a valid excuse for not being vegan.
No, both would have to become vegan, right?
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that one, David.
If a
If you want to
lion has a
rewrite,
moral agency, right, and we are able to reason with them, and they have the ability to put themselves in a position of the victim, then both should be vegan, not both should be stinking, immoral meat eaters, right?
so yeah, I just don't. I'm not. I'm struggling to sort of understand that. That statement, because they're sort of unrelated. So not being vegan, yeah,
Well,
I cannot really
the way I
see it.
understand it, that when Karanists use lions, though, right? They saying basically, if a lion can eat a gazelle, then I can eat the gazelle as well, stating lion being eating a gazelle as a unmovable fact, when if the lion does have actually moral agency, then it's not an unmovable fact, then the lion should become vegan as well.
Okay. So so you think you're sort of saying that the lion should become vegan?
Yeah.
But
I'm saying that. I think David says that lion not being, while having the moral agency, the fact that the lion victimizes the gazelle is an unmovable fact, and therefore, if a human brings a lion as an example, then it's justified for the human to eat meat. I think it's the other way around. I don't think if a lion has moral agency, which we don't know, I don't think that the lion eating animals is an unmovable fact then, and both should be vegan.
yeah, even if the lion did have moral agency, I would still think we should act, right? I don't really care what is the status of the person committing the act, right?
Yeah, human killers have moral agency. Should we not stop them?
To be honest, yeah, as I said,
have moral agency. Should we not stop them?
To be honest, I'm not too sure about the existence of free will, as I mentioned previously. So, but I just believe in acting in accordance of reducing rights violation, and it always comes with who the victim is. Yeah.
Yeah. Meta on meta, I don't think it matters if we have free will or not. We kind of act like we do. So therefore, for all intents and purposes, we do, even if we don't.
So,
it's meta.
Someone said saying that moral patience can violate rights is literally a contradiction.
Yeah, it kind of is. It is. Humans have humans are moral patients, and I don't think I've ever heard it put that way. Does that mean that humans have moral agency, right? Did I understand you correctly?
So I think by moral patient he means that, or they mean that it's just someone who hasn't got moral agency and they just feel suffering. Is that sort of what they mean by moral patient?
Then I didn't understand that. The victim, Tone says the victim is a moral patient. Okay.
And humans are both, right? They can be both a victim, or they can.
But I don't think I again don't see how declaring that animals are moral patients takes away from the fact that that means that they can be a victim, right? So again, it's just this thing. It's looking at this problem with the eyes of the perpetrator, it seems to me, and not the victim. I mean, I really don't know how not to empathize with the bloody gazelle who's been eaten alive. and say, yeah, no, that's fine, because they're a moral patient. I think that more than the question of whether or not the lion has a moral like agency, that leads us to the position that humans can do whatever, right? Because to animals, right? Because animals are more patient. Therefore, am I misunderstanding? I could be misunderstanding something. Yeah.
But
yeah. Maybe
someone,
we should.
Dobrik
Yes.
said, and I don't think we can hold non-human animals morally accountable for their actions anyway. It's not. I'm not saying like I'm not saying put them into a court of law, a court, and then sort of trial them. I'm just saying just stop the victims in the wild.
Yeah, stop the victim creating, right? I don't see how that is a controversial position in any way.
So continue.
Deontology with utilitarianism, and makes it seem like negative utilitarianism is some sort of deontic position, and I think it's very confusing, and it's not right. It's making a lot more confusing the whole concept of animal rights and veganism. Well, let's just leave it there.
Can you stop for a second?
Cool. Yeah, thank you both for your opening statements.
So Marcelo Arandia asks, VPN, did you just say that you don't know if a lion has a moral agency? Yes, we don't know. And we don't know for sure, right? We assume that they don't, but we don't know for sure. And B, I'm saying my position is it doesn't matter.
Me too. I think we agree
doesn't
on
matter.
this one.
It doesn't matter if they're a moral agent or not.
Like there's a victim, that's what I care about, right?
Yeah, same.
1 minute.
Either of you now can feel free to ask one another an opening question or a clarification or something like that, and then just start the back and forth. I'm going to mod this debate, but I'm not going to be too heavy-handed with my moderating. It's not going to be like a super formal debate of any kind. I'll just step in certain points where I believe that I need to, but hopefully that won't need to happen. So yeah, I'll let you guys ask an opening question or something like that, and just start from there. So that's up to you guys from now. The floor is yours.
Yeah, I have a question. I disagree with a lot of what David just said, but there's a lot to disagree with, so I kind of want to tackle the most relevant part to wild animal rights / suffering first. And I do have a hypothetical. I know David's not a fan, but we did agree prior that if it was a reasonable hypothetical, we would engage with it. So George mentioned to me prior to the discussion, and from what I watched of the video you did with him recently, that one of your main objections to wild animal intervention is this idea of jurisdiction, or like the liberty of the animals, like we're infringing some kind of jurisdiction. And like out of everything that you said, and from what I watched in the video, that seems like the main kind of objection you have to wild animal intervention. Because all these other issues about deontology and utilitarianism, like they're interesting, but they're kind of tangential to like this actual debate. So I just thought we'd attack the the strongest point first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I do have a question on that. Assuming that is your position, that we're infringing on some kind of jurisdiction of wild animals.
Mm-hmm.
Is that your position? I just want to make sure it is before I ask my question.
Sorry, come again?
Is it your position that one of your main objections to wild animal intervention is that we're infringing on some kind of jurisdiction that we don't have?
Can you, first of all, David, you keep putting words in our mouths, right? David says in my chat, they are making animals moral agents. Sorry. Literally aren't. Literally the opposite of what we say.
We said we're agnostic. Well, my position is I'm not sure, but it doesn't really affect me because I know that on the other side, there's a sentient being who is getting their rights violated. So I don't really... Does it make sense?
Yeah. Do you understand the Pat's question about... I'm just unfamiliar with David's stance on this. Was it? What was it? Jurisdiction. Meaning there is the way I understand it, and David, fix my understanding if I've understood incorrectly. So we have the jurisdiction of humans, and then we have the jurisdiction of wild, the nature, and the two can't be crossed. Is that your position? David says the obligation to be vegan is because we are moral agents. A baby doesn't have a moral obligation to be vegan because he's not a moral agent. Great. That's interesting, but there is a victim involved. So I'm not sure, like, if a baby gets a gun and shoots somebody, right? So you can't tell that baby off, right? That's a baby. But there's a bloody corpse in the...
Or we won't just say, oh, let's just let this happen because the baby...
Let's not try grabbing... let's not try grabbing that gun from the baby. Let them shoot the person. Let them create corpse, bleeding corpse in the middle of a room, right? Because a baby is not a moral agent. Therefore, they don't have the obligation to not shoot people. I'm saying baby, but like a baby can't hold guns, but like a child can. Children shoot all kind of people all the time in America, I heard.
But yeah.
David says, do you propose jails for babies? You are, again, only considering the perpetrator and not the victim. It's totally not what I'm saying. I'm saying the baby can be excused, right, for doing this terrible thing because they don't know what they're doing. But there's still a wrong happened there. And if you could have prevented it, you should have. That's what we're saying. Not saying let's put babies in jails.
Yeah, no one is
How
saying...
do you read that from our position at all?
Yeah, just to be clear, we are not proposing jails for babies.
And
it'll be interesting. Would David have a different in viewpoint if the baby shot a cow, for example, compared to a baby shooting another human? I'll be interested if
David, if you're saying it's not your point, I'm not strawmanning you, right? I'm asking you, is that your point?
Because if the baby shooting another a non-human animal, that I'll be interested to hear if David thinks that would be okay.
Well, David, that's the point. That's the question, right? A lion is about to eat a human. Do you intervene? I'm hoping the answer is yes, but you can answer. If the lion is therefore then about to eat a gazelle, do you intervene then? Please answer those two questions, right? I don't want to strawman you. I'm asking.
And then you can sort of keep on going deeper and deeper into this. So if he sort of says no with the gazelle, you can then say, if the gazelle, they just name the trait, right? Yeah. And then just sort of say if the gazelle then had human DNA, would you be fine with that, or sort of?
Wow, then you're going into a utilitarian position, Patrick. I'm of course sarcastic. I'm sarcastic.
Okay.
I'm sarcastic.
Okay. If a baby's shooting, normally we stop him, David says.
No, you're not, David. This is in a vacuum, right? You have a gun. A lion is about to eat a person. You have a split second. Do you intervene or not? It's not at risk to you. We're not talking practically. We're talking morally. And the human is just a human. You don't know nothing about them. It's a faceless victim that might be vegan, might be a hunter. It doesn't matter. We're talking about morality. We can then add, I don't know, well, are you gonna let the lion eat the hunter? If you're gonna, then what the fuck did the gazelle do to you? Is my question. Is my next question.
For me, I see an action as wrong if it goes against my preferences. And yeah, I don't want to see sentient beings dying.
David wants to come up and answer the question live. Patrick, what do you think?
We've asked a few questions. Which question exactly?
I'm guessing it's my question. You have a gun and there's a lion about to eat a human. Do you intervene? I'm guessing it's that.
I'm okay. If it's up to you.
Sure. David, I think I have a... You tagged me, so I'm gonna send you a link on Instagram. You can come in if you want.
Let's keep it friendly, guys.
Hey, I'm an asshole. That's fine. It's in place. I'm trying to understand everybody's position, but it's kind of hard to talk about people's positions when they are assuming yours, right? It's a little difficult. Like my cordiality goes out the window. Hello, David.
Hello.
Hey, everyone. Are you listening to me right now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I can hear you.
Okay, let me try to close the other windows because Scheiße. Where am I? Okay. Is it? Are you listening to me? Or
we can hear you. Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. So many things have been. I feel like a strongman the whole time. I've been strongman the whole time.
Excuse me, sir. I don't want to play this game, but you started it. You came into my chat without me saying a word and started calling us utilitarians, right?
Yeah, listen, I'm calling utilitarianism. It's not an insult.
Oh, okay.
Singer is very proud to call himself a utilitarian. David Pierce calls himself a utilitarian.
Oh, now
why do you think that it is an insult? It is not an insult at all.
Absolutely not. Yeah. Only I'm not a utilitarian, so calling me
You're defending utilitarian ideas. Utilitarianism is about violating the right of the few for the greater good, or not even deciding what is just or what is fair, or not even respecting the rights of others, just for the greater good. That is utilitarianism.
That's not my position. But listen, can you answer? That's fine. That's fine.
You talked about lab-grown meat. Lab-grown meat has to be made by violating the rights of animals. That's why I explained that many times.
Okay, sure. Can you answer my question, please? Can you answer my question?
Animals.
Can you stop and can you answer my question? You came in here to answer my question. Can you do that instead? Instead of
ask. Should I'll answer all of your questions here.
Awesome. So you have a gun. There is a lion about to eat a human. Do you intervene? And by intervene, I do mean shoot a lion, right? Shoot the lion dead.
It depends.
It
depends on the human. It depends who is the human. If the human is a hunter that was hunting lions, I won't shoot the lion.
Okay, you know nothing about the human. It's just a human. You know nothing. It's a baby. It's a human baby. How about that? It's a human baby. Are you about to shoot? Are you intervening? Are you shooting the lion?
Maybe. If I shoot the lion, Have you seen those videos where people shoot an animal and the animal keeps running and goes after you?
Well,
Maybe. So
let's say
I'm not here to virtue signal about what I
Okay,
would do.
that's fine. That's
You know,
fine. I'm gonna
It's
just
not.
if,
I'd
yeah.
like to add. I'd like to add. It's not what you would do. It's what you think would be the correct choice. It's not like I'm not saying I could
depends.
necessarily
It
kill
depends.
someone.
It depends if my life is at risk.
No,
It
your life
depends
is.
on
I'm
that.
just gonna
On that fact.
qualify it,
No,
David.
so
David, I'm sorry.
imagine
If I
this
feel
is
that my life is at risk, I
It's
feel
not.
that I have the choice not to intervene.
Okay, if I can, please. I'm gonna qualify it everything. Patrick, I'm gonna give you the stage in a second. Your life is not at risk. By shooting a lion, you will definitely kill a lion. You know that for sure. There's a human baby. Are you gonna shoot the lion or not?
No, it depends.
What else does it
Why,
depend on?
why am I putting my life at risk for
Your
somebody else?
life is not at risk.
That
That's part of
somebody
the
left
hypothetical. You're dodging the
uncared.
question. Fuck off.
Somebody else
You're
left
dodging
a
the
baby
question.
uncared for, and I have to
Are you
risk my
gonna
life
answer the
to
question,
save
David?
that baby. No,
I
I won't
said
do
that
it.
your life
Maybe.
is not at risk. Are you gonna
May,
answer the question?
okay, if my life is not at risk, maybe I would do it. Yeah,
Okay.
maybe. I'm
Do
not
you
here
think
to
that's the
virtue
morally
signal.
right thing to do?
Do you understand this? I'm not here to virtue signal about what I
I'm not
would
asking
do
you to virtue
in a
signal. I'm
situation that
asking
I
you
have
what
no
your
idea.
moral position is. I'm asking you what your
have
moral
no,
position is.
I just clarified it. If my life is at risk, I feel that I have the choice not to intervene.
Awesome. Your life, it's part of the hypothetical. I baked it into the hypothetical that your life is not at risk, that when you
Yeah,
shoot
and
the
I
lion,
said
you kill them
yes,
dead.
maybe I would intervene. I
Is it
answered.
the morally right thing to do? Or is it a morally obscure thing to do, to shoot the lion to save the baby?
I really think that the most vulnerable being might be the baby. Yeah,
Yeah. So
and
it's a good thing to shoot the lion
but
to
I don't
save
think.
the baby?
But if I could not shoot the
That's
lion,
fine. Of
I would,
course. None of
because
us
I
are
don't think
saying
that the
that that's
lion is a moral agent.
yeah, none of us are saying that that's the only, that's what we're trying to do, right? This is a moral question, and that's why it's bifurcated in the middle. That's why it's black and white, because it's a moral question. You're not putting yourself at risk. There's a baby who's about to lose their lives. Do you shoot the lion? You say yes. There's now, instead of the human baby, there's a baby gazelle, and the
Yeah.
lion is
Okay.
about to eat the baby gazelle. Do you shoot the lion?
Why do you? Sorry. Why do you put these
Why? Because
hypotheticals
that's how
about what?
morality works.
Yeah. Do you know that moral,
Can you answer the
normative
question? Sorry. Can you answer the question, David? Can you please not dodge? Can you answer the question?
I'm not dodging. I'm going to answer your question, but I'm going to clarify that what you're doing is very dishonest.
Maybe.
Why?
Can you answer the question
Could I ask something?
Because you are putting, you are making up a moral dilemma, and you think that normative ethics enter within that dilemma.
No,
And
I'm just asking what your morality is. I'm just asking what your morality is. That's how we do it.
That is not the case.
Can you answer the question, though, please? Can you answer the question? Now, instead of a human baby, there's a baby gazelle. You have the option to shoot the lion and stop the baby gazelle from being eaten alive. Do you do it?
I might, maybe. I have no idea, because I'm not here to virtue signal.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not here to virtue signal about situations where I'm not in that situation, and I have never been in that situation, and I hope to never be in that situation. I'm not going to a national park to see lions destroying another individual.
It's not an unfeasible thing, right? It's not unfeasible that you see a lion, right? Trying to kill
what I
himself.
feel, but what I feel
it
that
happens every day, right?
Let me speak for please, because I feel like I'm talking to Patricia again, and she was like me. No.
Okay.
Okay.
Right. Fuck off. I'm not gonna let you have it.
Keep him.
No, I
Sorry,
want to
sorry.
kick him. I'm not gonna spend any time.
So
Oh,
if you're going
thank
to,
you very much. Thank you. No, it could be that I'm too intersectionalist to have misogynistic shit on my channel. It could be. Maybe I'm a terrible intersectionalist, but I won't suffer both dodging. And I apologize, Patrick, that you didn't get to ask your question, but I expected that this would go this way. So.
no worries. All I was going to ask was, I was going
please.
to ask him, I was going to ask David, first of all, I wanted to ask whether he acknowledges that there is something called threshold deontology. And then I also wanted to ask him, I wanted to make it sure that it's not him in the position, okay? It's just what he thinks would go with his preferences. So he's not even in that situation. There's just someone else in a different, you can say in an island, looking at, a predator running at someone. And what would he want this person to do? Not what he would do, because I'm not necessarily saying I could kill someone as well. And then the last thing I wanted to ask him was, all things equal, is a world where sentient beings are getting ripped alive into perpetuity, is that better than a world in which this ceases to exist?
Well, Patrick, I don't understand how you expected to have an answer to all of those questions when my incredibly simple moral question, I think, wasn't answered. So
I think the most important one would have been, all things being held equal, is a world in which sentient beings are getting ripped apart forever. Is that better in a world in which this is reduced, or a world in which this is just completely eliminated? Which one would David prefer? I think that would be an important question.
Yeah, my chat says that I did the right thing by kicking David. I think so as well. I'm kind of, I don't know. It's me being intolerant of other people's intolerances. I think I'm justified there. So, Patrick, if you want to have a discussion with David, you can do that as well. David is very responsive on Instagram, so you can ask him for a debate. I think you are more tolerant of other people's intolerances, Patrick. Maybe.
I'd like to say that maybe David, like utilitarians, probably is like, yeah, they just all of that singer stuff. Yeah, he's sort of probably David is right to be sort of angry at P the singer. So
that's fine, but we know of vegan utilitarians, so I don't agree with their position on specific things. That's okay. We don't have to agree on things, but labeling somebody utilitarian when they are not, that's a strange thing. Especially, David said something about me promoting or being for lab-grown meat. The second scripted video on my channel was about the fact that lab-grown meat does violate rights and is therefore not vegan at the moment. It could be, but it's going to be incredibly difficult to make lab-grown meat actually vegan. I just think I promote, and I would say I promote lab-grown meat, despite it being not vegan, because it can get us to the vegan world much faster than veganism, I think. And by that, I mean eliminate the rights violations by humans in our lifetime, which I don't see how veganism can. Then we can get people to the position of sentientism and things like that. But first, let's close the slaughterhouses, which is what the lab-grown meat can and, might do. What are your thoughts on lab-grown meat, Patrick?
I need to look more into it, but like if it manages to have such a great impact and phase out, you know, animal exploitation, then it's similar, you know, like I watched the video where apparently with the COVID vaccine that had some testing on as well, and it's just the vaccine that also protects animals as well, companion animals as well. So it's like when I think of it, if lab meat was just sort of taking some cells, right, and like I would sign off on this in the human context as well. Like babies are given vaccinations when they're young without any consent, and it protects them. So this is it could sort of be seen as a protection, right? Because you're creating a product which stops carnists from exploiting you for, right?
Yeah. So my question is, so the way I'm, despite everything that just happened, I'm still trying to make sure to have the most charitable interpretation of what David said. So David said that utilitarianism is sacrificing the few for the greater good. I think that definition is so wide, it can include everything, like including some threshold deontologist positions. I think that's where David is confused. Utilitarianism is a very narrow worldview. It's and like every world, like threshold deontology as well, it has structure. And saying just words that can include such a large amount of worldviews, right? It's like saying nothing, basically. If you look at utilitarianism as a worldview, it has the structure that threshold deontology wouldn't fit into. They're literally opposite positions. But you say the words in a way that kind of doesn't really mean anything, does it?
And as far as I'm aware, everything I've said I would tolerate in the human context as well. So that's something else to add, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't take a step when it comes to morality without putting humans in that position, ever. I
So this
think
is
that's
how I
clear
think,
from the
yeah.
channel. Yeah.
So I'm guessing we have a similar position where we think, what would we do with trait equalized humans? Well, this is how I sort of decide what would be the best thing to do. Is this sort of how you go about it?
Yeah. I usually do equate, I guess, most animals to babies or to children, young children, I guess. Cognitively and morally, they literally are. I mean, they are equated. That's what I meant. Not that animals are human babies. And yeah.
So, for example, if we discovered an island where there were humans hunting humans, right? Like I would still say let's intervene.
Yeah, but it's a different jurisdiction, so maybe we shouldn't.
And I wouldn't say this is utilitarianism, right? I'm just thinking if I was in the Hunger Games, I would want people to help me out. So are we going to continue?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little upset now that I let this person on my channel. Maybe I should cut it out from my live stream. For real. In the first 20 seconds, he equated me to Hitler. Well, thanks, bruh.
Wait, someone said, no. David said, I'll be glad to have a discussion with Patrick. I'm not too sure what about, but yeah, if we
Yeah,
have some
send
sort
him
of...
a proposition, David. Send him a proposition. Let's make it a proper debate, the way grown-ups do it.
Yeah, because I've done debates before, and I need to have some sort of proposition, some statement. I can't do something open-ended, but I'm open to that.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if it's just so open-ended, it just goes on forever, and it's just going to different directions. But I personally think it's better to have a statement.
Yeah, as evidenced by this debate, that David's statement started about something that completely is unrelated to the question in hand. So, yeah, I guess we should continue for a little bit and then see what's going on.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
we are meddling. We're meddling in things that we shouldn't mess about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have two responses to that. The first is not as convincing, I think, as the second one, but the first is a legal response, and that is the whole idea of jurisdiction is a legal concept. So
Yeah.
we kind of get to decide whose jurisdiction it is because animals live in a sovereign country like Australia or America. We have control over the land and over people. Yeah, so if the people want something, we can do it. That's kind of the legal approach. So it wouldn't really be a problem with respect to that definition because we are in our jurisdiction. Like, this is our jurisdiction. And I think to pretend that we don't have a say in what happens to the wild is false because we clearly chop down trees and interfere with nature on a daily basis for not the interest of animals. What I'm proposing is that we do it for the interest of animals. So I think like it's already happening. The second approach, the second approach I think is more addressing your actual issue because you're kind of making a philosophical claim. I take it, not a legal claim. You're making a philosophical claim about us respecting the jurisdiction of animals or like their boundaries or something like that. So it's not a legal claim, it's more about philosophy. So I think the question I want to ask you is, if you could end infinite suffering just by thinking a thought, but that infinite suffering was taking place outside your jurisdiction, would you do it?
No.
No?
No.
Wow.
So there's like parasites and disease and like the worst kind of suffering, and all you need to do is think a thought to end it, and you wouldn't.
Yeah, what are you proposing? Like an atomic bomb?
Can you stop?
No, I'm just saying it's just a hypothetical to imagine a world.
I mean, again, how's a jurisdiction defined here? Is different country another jurisdiction? Like, if you could stop FGM in Africa, would you not push the button because it's a different jurisdiction? Damn, that's a cold position. That's not thinking about the victim at all. That's thinking about the perpetrator. Or, I don't know, not thinking about them at all, like othering them, putting them different jurisdiction, not my problem, isn't it? What do you have to say about that, Patrick?
I was just going to say this question that Patricia is asking, I think it's sort of similar to the question I wanted to ask, where all things being held equal, is a world with all of this added suffering better than a world without it? Because she's sort of saying if you could push a button and end this suffering, right, would you be okay with that, right?
Yeah. Would you push a button, yeah? I mean, wow.
And to the people that say, hypotheticals are, some people, they don't like hypotheticals, but the fact is, hypotheticals, they can come into reality as well. So if someone wants to not answer a hypothetical, they have to explain why, on what basis that hypothetical is. It sort of logically incorrect, or because, for example, before the nuclear bomb, someone could have made a hypothetical about the nuclear bomb, right? But it wouldn't have been a valid, a good answer to say, we don't have a bomb like this currently, so this is not a good question, right?
Yeah. In my experience, the problem with hypotheticals is that people who don't want to answer them are dodging. I'm not being very charitable, but I am pissed off. I am pissed off that I had this person on my channel. I am.
But Carnism Debunked, he also did an interview with Benatar. Did you watch that interview?
No.
So, and there was also a lot of dodging going on there. And then towards the end of the interview, he said if he had, a boa constrictor and he said if you had a boa constrictor in your house, and it was like either you could feed, I can't remember exactly, but it was like I think there was three options off the top of my head. It was if you could either keep on feeding. I know, I think it was actually if you could either release the boa constrictor into the wild or kill the boa constrictor, what would you do? And I think Benatar said he would release the boa constrictor into the wild.
Wow.
Yeah. And
that's
another
literally
option,
hiding your head in the sand, isn't it? It's rolling the problem elsewhere and ignoring it. I think
So-
that's what jurisdiction means, basically. Not my problem.
but what would you do in this situation if you had a boa constrictor and you could either, you had it in your house, you could either unfortunately put its life to end or release it into the wild where it'll be part of a natural ecosystem? What would you do?
Well, morally, I think, morally speaking, I would have to kill the boa constrictor. I don't think I have a choice, because the amount of victims there is going to be, it's going to be unimaginable, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And, you know, that would be a terrible thing that I've done. I wouldn't take myself off the hook there. I think it's this specific hypothetical is a moral dilemma, and by that definition, it's like by the virtue of it being moral dilemma, it doesn't have any good outcomes. It only has two bad outcomes, and one of them is better than the other. Right? And if I can prevent more victims to be created, I'm gonna have to.
Because if someone just changed the hypothetical to say, release the boa constrictor into a city, right?
Yeah.
Then what's the difference
Into
between releasing it?
a kindergarten, yeah,
Yeah.
basically, where helpless animals are gonna be fucking helpless children. What would you do, Patrick?
What would I do? I would, go the same thing with what you said. Yeah.
Yeah, and just to counter the accusation that that's a utilitarian position, just one more time. No, it's fucking not. I'm literally taking the rights of, I'm literally preventing rights violations, right? So it's a basically, yeah, maybe it's a threshold deontologist position, isn't it, Patrick? Yeah.
I'm just looking at the comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was
Fine,
the
don't
threshold?
listen to me.
Sorry.
All right. I don't care.
You go ahead.
Yeah.
What was the threshold deontological position?
Yeah. So the question of boa, do you kill them or do you release them, right? Is that a utilitarian position to say I would kill them? I view it as a threshold deontology position, right? Because
it depends on if you think it's a rights violation.
Not that I care. It could be a utilitarian position. It would still be the right position morally, in my opinion, because it creates the least amount of victims. I mean, I don't have this, I don't identify as a utilitarian. That's why I got a little disheveled by that. But
it could also be on consequential grounds.
Yeah, it is. Consequential doesn't equal utilitarian. It includes utilitarian positions. What was your answer, by the way, Patrick?
To the boa constrictor question.
Yeah.
I'll do the same as you, right?
Yeah.
So I would have to unfortunately put the life to end, but yeah. David is saying that Benatar said that they should relocate the boa. I can't remember that. maybe I'm wrong because I'm just saying off the top of my head, but I thought he said release the boa into the wild.
Yeah. I mean, if you have this black and white position, you can't then give a third position in there. You can't sneak it in there. That would be against the rules or whatever. Of course, I would love to not kill anybody. What the fuck? I'm a fucking vegan.
This is like the last resort, right?
I'm wondering what would be the actual justification for the opposite position of mine to actually release the boa constrictor into the wild. What would be the justification for that? The only one I can think of is nature, though, and then it's a carnist position.
Appeal to naturalistic fallacy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's some people, who say it's people who put a blind eye to wild suffering. It's like carnism with extra steps, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It would have to be unpacked, I think. And unfortunately, would have to be unpacked with each individual person.
But Kenny is saying, I think at some point you guys should talk about application of your moral view widespread. That's when you see it get complicated easily. We get upset when non-vegans don't apply their position. Probably meaning infinitely widespread.
Okay. What should we try to solve? World hunger?
So he's continuing. So I'd love you to answer what would happen since you say you kill a snake. What happens when you kill all animals that kill animals, please? Every single one? Or does it only matter when it's in front of you? I mean, okay, I gotta go. He's saying, but
yeah. Well, then that's a practical question, isn't it? Sorry, continue.
It was practical what?
It's a practical question. It's no longer a moral question, isn't it?
But this then goes to my question: all things being held equal, like is a world with. So if humans were getting ripped apart, like this is where it's sort of like a last resort, just where if there was no other way, then displacing nature would be the option you would go for in the human context. Well, when I'm saying you, I mean me personally. If there was an island with the Hunger Games going on, and the only option was to drop a bomb on this island, I would if there was no other way compared to this island going on forever, infinitely, and there was literally no other way, then I would have to drop the bomb on the island and just end it once and for all.
Yeah, sad state of affairs, isn't it? Now, again, this is not a practical position, right? We are talking about morality, and that's why it's so extreme, two extreme positions we're taking here. Because, practically, I guess we should continue the way we continue now. People kill people. Hunger Games do be happening, and we're not dropping bombs on them, are we? But the juxtaposition, the question is of the victims. We have to ask about the victims.
Well, what would you do personally?
If I had the chance. Well, the question is, well, you have the Hunger Games. I haven't watched the series, but that, do you mean they're just hunting each other and everybody is for whatever, right? Each to their own or something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So both sides are both perpetrators and victims. And
well,
if you don't drop a bomb,
let's just say there's a group of people who are very sort of, they don't want to kill anyone, and they're just getting hunted.
Yeah.
And they're
then
just living
when
off
you drop
vegetables.
the bomb, you kill the victims as well, aren't you?
But it's a one-time thing, and then.
Yeah, no, that's where we differ. I think I would say no.
So you would rather the Hunger Games continue for forever if there was an island like this?
Yeah, at this point, I'm going to have to think of the individual victims, right? Individuals. And we're talking about extermination. And I'm not convinced that, yeah, I guess morally, I don't have a choice, do I? I have to say one or the other. So I'm leaning more towards not doing it because then you are the one destroying the victims as well, aren't you?
But in one case, for example, you have 100 victims. In the case where you let it continue, you have infinite victims.
Yeah. I'm worried about conflating here between individuals and populations. You know what I mean? I'm afraid that we are in this case looking at populations and not individuals. Do you understand my dilemma?
So
I'm not sure. I don't have a stronger vibe on this one. I don't. I'm split right in the middle because I understand both. Okay, so hold on. Let me think about it a little more. So the victims are going to be victimized anyways, right?
So akin to, they are basically, I don't know, in any sort of horrible situation humans have been in throughout history.
Yeah.
You can think of any example you want, and then this is just going on forever, and you can
Yeah, but
throw.
it's not going on to the individuals. The going on is a population thing. The going
Yeah.
on is a victim gives birth to a new victim and then dies, and then
Yeah.
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 That's where I'm diverging a little bit because we are now looking, when we say things like in perpetuity, we are now looking at victims as a population of people and not as a group of individuals, because the group of individuals are, there's this individual and there's that individual, and when a new individual is bred from them, that's a new individual, and whatever happened to their parents is not a moral question to them, is it?
But
I don't know if
the ones who were there before, they are effectively living a life of suffering.
That's where I have a problem, I think. I don't know if I can solve this one. I don't know. I don't have strong or I have strong intuitions for both answers, right? But it depends on how I'm looking at it. So I'm having a hard time answering. Am I dodging the question, Patrick?
Perhaps,
Perhaps.
because
Oh shit.
like
I have
I
to
guess
answer.
like what is your sort of preference? Would this a world in which suffering, well, this island, for example, that I
Yeah.
made up, this island in which suffering is going on for infinity, or a world an island in which there is no suffering?
An island where there is no suffering would be preferable. But this is a little wide, right? There is no more suffering because there is no more anybody to suffer, is there? And there I'm having a hard time, frankly.
But say we had a compound in which, you know, some humans were being kept and being bred forever and just being exploited, and then you could just one time, if this was the only option, the last resort option, and you found out that physically this was the only way, the only like modality in which you could stop these humans keep being bred
Being
and again
fed and suffering.
so I'm just saying, in this hypothetical, it's the only option.
Fuck. I'm literally split in the middle, Patrick. I don't know what to say. Wow. How the turns have tabled.
Is anyone saying anything in the chats?
They're talking about something.
But something else, or
Help me out, guys. I'm flailing here. I want to be morally consistent.
because I value, because from a threshold deontological viewpoint, I would throw the
grenade,
bomb.
the bomb, yeah.
Because infinity for me is just so large, right?
That's where you kind of lose me, because we are not infinite. We are finite, right? And then again, we're talking about individuals here. I care about the suffering of individuals, not the suffering of populations. Or I care about suffering of individuals before I care about the suffering of populations, right?
But there's individuals who make up the population, right?
Yeah, but you're talking about this question of in perpetuity. And that adds a dimension of a population simplicity. It doesn't consider the individuals inside it.
Well, for the when you're throwing the bomb, you're considering the individuals, right? Maybe I need to try and think a little bit harder, but yeah, because when you're throwing the bomb, you know you're gonna violate some people's rights inside who are living a terrible life, who are then gonna breed and just keep on living, creating.
Well, the question: would you do this in case of a farm? You have a farm that represents all the world's animal farms, and in that farm you have cows who are bred and suffering and such, right? You have the ability to throw a bomb on that farm and kill all the individuals inside, and therefore prevent the perpetuity of suffering, or you can let the suffering continue.
I would throw the bomb, right?
I don't know. Literally, my preference is a split in the middle. I literally can't answer. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to dodge, though. I'm engaging with the question. I'm engaging with the question really hard. My brain is about to explode how hard I'm engaging with it.
Because there's some people say, oh, what would we do with these cows, right? The carness, where they exist because we're breeding them into existence, and if they're no longer existing in the future, all of this suffering won't exist.
Well, that's my problem, though, right? My problem is, yes, I would like for new generations of individuals to not be born, but then you have these individuals right now, and just to end their lives like that feels wrong. And yes, I'm talking about feelings. It feels wrong.
I guess you can tell me another time. You can sleep on it.
All right. Okay. Well, let's continue a little bit, but not for too long, I think. I'm getting...
So with lab flesh, I saw one company I was looking at where they keep the cells in very cold chambers. So the cells, they just continue on for forever. So there's no more animals needed for the cells, because it's I can't remember. I think the company was in America, but
yeah,
they have these sort of.
Are you asking if that would be vegan? Yeah.
Because someone in the chat wrote, "Hi David, do you think lab-grown flesh labs don't forcibly reproduce animals?" So I think it depends.
It depends. Actually, it depends on the company. There are companies right now that, as far as I understand, and I took a little bit of a time to look into it, albeit it's been a year and a half about since then. So there are some companies that do keep small herds to keep biopsying them. I think that's a rights violation. I think if I had the preference for another company to win over, I would definitely prefer for this company to not exist. There are companies that take biopsies from animals in slaughterhouses, which is fucking horrific, and also I think a rights violation. And there are companies that take or at least it is possible to take a biopsy of an organ that was removed in a surgery for an animal that had to undergo that surgery for their well-being. And just to say a little bit about that, for 2 years, that's how I operated as a study coordinator. I used to go, yes, I asked their consent, right? I used to go to people and ask for their consent to take a piece of their cells, their flesh, basically, that comes out in a surgery that is done for their well-being, right? And in some cases, I asked the parents of the people undergoing surgery. For instance, when the case of in the case of babies, right? Yes, I had tissue of babies for research. And yeah, the ethical standard, especially since I was doing it, was very high. So it is possible to find animal cells without violating their rights, right? If you have a guardian of an animal that has the animal's best interests in mind, and that animal is about to undergo a surgery, and whatever comes out on that surgery is would come out anyways, right? And you grab some cells, healthy cells from that. For instance, if there is a leg and there is an abscess in the middle of the leg, right? And you know, it haven't spread throughout the entire leg, but the leg has to be cut off, right? Medically speaking. You can grab some cells from the end of that leg, right? And if it's healthy cells, you can use those. Is it kind of a little bit gross? Yes, but that's my feelings. And ethically, it's a morally correct position, I think.
And to someone who would say this is a utilitarian position, would you accept this in the human context? I would.
Well,
so
yes. I literally did. I literally did this for 2 years. This was my job. Asking people for their flesh for research, not for consumption, but you know.
Because yeah, someone was right. David was writing in the chat. How can you deny the utilitarianism here?
Yeah.
So
well, you can
I
try
would,
to explain it
yeah.
again, Patrick. I'm gonna bow out of conversations with David from now on, I think.
Just I accept it in the human context as well. So, and it's otherwise it just makes you sort of seem a little bit. What's the correct word to use? If you just, it's a little bit crazy to not sign off on that, right? When you could potentially end.
I literally think that it's a confused position as a vegan, because then you're not thinking of the victim. You're still thinking of the perpetrator and their, I don't know. I don't even know. No, maybe not of the perpetrator. I don't know what you're thinking there. You're not thinking of the victims, though.
That's all. Yeah. So yeah, someone else was writing. Do you all threshold deontologists stomp on every spider you see?
What? Sorry, again?
Do all you threshold deontologists stomp on every spider you see?
What is a spy?
Spider.
Spider.
Spider-Man, yeah.
No, I let them live. They don't live for long, though, in my apartment. I keep it pretty much locked up. No food comes in for spiders. So there are no insects.
And what's stopping you? If you saw a spider, would you stomp on it?
No.
So to
If
answer,
I saw a spider about to kill another sentient animal, as far as I know, we are not clear on whether all insects are sentient, but I know some are, right? Or maybe like we extrapolate that some are. So in that moment, if I saw a spider going for another sentient animal, yeah. But I think I starve my spiders, is my point. Unintentionally, seriously.
yeah, you kept them confined, right?
Yeah. All animals come in involuntarily, and I don't know what they're going on about. I try to kill as little as possible of them. I do kill mosquitoes, though. I'm nobody's blood cow.
So should we maybe wrap things up there?
Yeah, I think
Been
so.
going for quite a long time.
Yeah.
But
Guys, maybe like a few more questions, last questions in my chat as well. I don't know. Last comments. Somebody wants to call us utilitarian again. Go ahead. You won't be upset. I'm not upset about it. I'm just saying it's a weird thing to say about somebody who doesn't hold that label.
with regards
Especially
to
on both
insects,
sides. What? Sorry, yeah.
I was going to say, I personally see some sort of crop deaths currently as rights violations. Yeah.
Sorry again. Crop depths as
Uh,
rights violations. Yeah,
no,
me as well.
I see some types. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
I would say as well. I think I even said it in one of the videos of mine. I'm not sure if I said it or not, but I definitely hold the position that crops are rights violations. But again, we have a moral dilemma here, right? We can, and maybe this is a utilitarian position. We can kill more animals, or we can kill less animals, and we can strive to killing none, which is what the vegan position is, as far as I can say. And
the way I
if
sort of,
that's a
yeah.
utilitarian position, then that's a vegan position. Then veganism is utilitarianism, and there you go. Sorry.
Threshold utility. Oh, well, threshold deontology. Yeah, better.
Threshold
Would be.
utilitarianism. Yeah. Somebody's asking, VPM, do you eat corn? Yes, when I can get it for cheap. For some reason, it doesn't happen much where I am. But I fucking love corn. Absolutely adore corn. Like corn on the cob. Absolutely love. Yeah. Corwood Moon asks, so you PPM, why are you so awesome? I'm okay. I'm doing fine. I don't know. That's in the eyes of the beholder, and some people would disagree. Let's just say like that. VPM, you should eat corn every day. I would if it wasn't so bloody rare and expensive for him. When I can get corn on the cheap, I do. All you need is corn. People really love corn in my chat. Yeah, Patrick, do you have any questions on your side?
I would just like to add, in one of my recent streams, someone asked me if you can get corn milk. And I said, because I was talking about corn protein, but I saw in Aldi, they've got corn milk, actually. Yeah. So yeah, you can get corn milk.
No. I really want to try potato milk. I don't know if corn milk, like especially because it's so starchy. I mean, I guess you need to add something to it to break down the starch, aren't you? Like amylase, the way they do commercially with oat milk. They add amylase to it to break down the starch. Yeah, I guess, yeah, that would work. If you add some starch breaking down into corn milk, yeah, it's going to be good.
A better option would be just corn isolate and mix it with water. Then you get a very high protein because it's the highest isolated protein with leucine corn.
Yeah, but doesn't protein when dried becomes hydrophobic?
So you mean it
So if
doesn't
you
mix
add an
with...
isolate was dried.
So what do you mean if you mix it with water, it doesn't mix, or what is your?
Yeah, it doesn't mix. Like if you try even a soy isolate, right? If you add like soy protein to your shake, you really need to shake really hard for it to have any kind of. I mean, you can't have a commercial milk like that for sure. You can add a scoop into your personal use, like into your personal shake. But yeah, I think I could be wrong. Maybe it's not all proteins, but a lot of proteins become hydrophobic. So it's definitely a time to finish up then, isn't it? Guys, I'm sorry we didn't react to that much of the debate itself, but technical difficulties, and then we started, and then we had an asshole on the air. Patrick doesn't have to agree with me on that. And then
no name calling.
no
Everyone,
name calling.
we're all here in the same. Yeah, at least for human commodification of animals, we all want the same thing here. So
It seems like David is working against us though, because he's been dogging me for a while. So, and people like me who have hold my positions, it's been revoking our vegan status, has been calling us names. So, yeah, okay, I'll take back my name calling.
but yeah, if someone doesn't want to call me vegan, yeah, I don't really care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
VPN, please be civil. My chat for is reminding me to indeed. I don't know what to say, Dummy Wolf. He got me upset. One thing is calling me names, but acting the way he did before I kicked him is an absolutely terrible thing. Sorry to say. Yeah. Okay. Well, Patrick, I think we've gone long enough. Let's finish up. Thank you, everybody, for coming.
Thank you, guys. And
See you.
I was going to add, maybe we should, we can do more streams if people find the stuff interesting. There's been a new, I saw Cosmic Skeptic yesterday make quite, talk a little bit about animal rights again, so we could react to that at some point.
Yeah. Okay.
So let us know if you want to.
Yeah. I won't.
Well,
I don't know how much I have to add. I'm not, sometimes.
How much you have to add towards what?
I don't know, when it comes to... Anyways, let's talk behind the scenes. Okay. Sorry, Patrick. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming. See you next time.
Thank you guys for joining.